the comments. If you hit comments, you guys can see like whoever posts. And then we'll give it a few minutes, people to come in. Or it'll censor me like crazy. Or kick us off like it does because they don't like Danny.
They do not like me.
No.
I've tried to go live a handful of times. It won't do anything. I can't get anybody to come on.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I used to have like a couple hundred that would come on, and now it's like 20, 30, if that. Like I'll joke and say, oh, let's see if we can get to 50.
Yeah. Have you ever tried the live stream on Telegram? I've tried it a few times, but nobody gets on. But I don't think many people know about the feature. So
I didn't know you could do that. Can we do it together? We should do that one time.
yeah, we can try that.
Aaron, are you an admin on his page?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I always see your. How do you pronounce your last name?
Zumpf.
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 Yeah.
Aaron Zumpf.
Brutal. Ah.
Hey everyone, we're gonna see if they like put out notifications or call me. Facebook is gonna censor us.
Candace Flynn just gave a heart.
Hey Candace Flynn, you all will love Danny because he likes to give shout outs to everyone that comes on. I love going on his lives because I'm like, oh, he'll talk to me on here.
Yeah, that's the part that I enjoy the most. I like talking to people.
Michaela, did I say that right? Michaela, right? Michaela?
I've noticed on Telegram that you've posted that you're going live. Is that for like all your other channels, YouTube, Rumble, all that?
Well, it's connected to go on YouTube, but I have been in YouTube jail so many times that it won't work half the time. So it's supposed to go live. So if it doesn't, I just upload it
Yeah.
after.
Telegram, really. You got a lot of followers on there.
Yeah. We need to do that next time and not Facebook. We should do it on Telegram.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with the border and everything. It's about to get real crazy here. So maybe next week or the next couple of weeks. We should do one on Telegram because there's some people on here that aren't on Telegram.
Right. I keep trying to encourage people to go over to Telegram where we can at least talk, freely for now.
Yeah.
Well, I got put in Telegram jail.
Wait, you did?
I did. And I'll have to send you, remind me when this is over. I posted it. It said that, I'll have to send you the screenshot. It was Telegram. I'm like, what? They said that I couldn't post certain things for a certain amount of days. I'll send it to you.
Wow. Okay.
I've never seen that. I've seen some crazy stuff on that Telegram.
Same. Never seen that.
I feel like Telegram, I like Telegram, but a part of it is people that hide behind these fake names and profiles and they don't show who they are. And it's just to go hate on people. It's like, seriously, do something better with your life.
I think you can
Right.
do anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Let me see if I can find it.
Candace Flynn didn't get a notification, but she's still here.
Hey, Candace.
Hi.
I know. I love talking to everybody. Liz, Mackie in the house. Thanks for the live. Love getting real unfiltered info.
You'll definitely get it with these two. Just wait. It'll be real interesting.
Yeah, it's going to get real.
Let's see.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Michelle is still here,
Thanks,
a.k.a. Michelle.
I
Do you
think, is that
prefer being
Michelle or
called-
Mikkel?
Yeah, is it Mikkel or Michelle? Or do you prefer being called a.k.a. Michelle?
Oh, I guess it could be Michelle.
It could be.
I'm trying to find the Telegram jail one.
I'm going to call her a.k.a. What's that? I know.
Does
You
his
think-
hair look red? Like it's on fire?
It's glowing.
It
Is it
really
from
does.
that darn sign behind me? Gosh,
You're
should I
supposed to be
turn
a
that
free
off?
human being. Just look like a red man.
I
We don't
can't
discriminate against.
I can't win. I can't win with this lighting
No,
in
I
here.
think it's great.
It's Mixhell? That doesn't.
Mixel?
Mixell.
That's not
Mixel.
okay.
And then she said, LOL. That's all right.
Wait, what did I do with the comments?
We
I don't know
just
what I
want to
just did.
pronounce
Oh, I
your
can't
name
see the
right.
comments. Oh, there we go. Michelle.
Yeah. Now she's just like, just call me Michelle, since you guys can't get it right.
Since you guys don't know how to talk or spell or read.
Or read, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I guess we'll just there's 12 people here, so so guys, if you have not met Danny, we've done only one show together, huh? There's only one.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
geez,
Yeah.
we should have
Just
been doing
one.
more. Ridiculous. Just what's wrong with you? Anyway, we have done a show together, but if you don't know Danny, he has the Free Human Being Project. I always support his shirts, like buy them all the time. They're my favorite clothes to wear at this point in time. And his friend Aaron, well, okay, first of all, Danny's in Colorado, and so is Aaron. And Danny and I met via Facebook when all the crazy stuff was happening, and we were just like Colorado's communism. And then Aaron, I've known of Aaron because I see his name all the time, but I have not met him until today. So why don't you guys both just introduce yourself and then we'll kind of get going.
Sure. Danny Bristow. I'm the owner of the Free Human Being Project. Like Madyson said, I live in Colorado. Started the Free Human Being Project at the beginning of 2020 after the unconstitutional lockdowns of our freedoms and our rights. It's all constitutional minded clothing. I donate 25% of all of my sales to other small businesses to help them out with their financial needs. And met you, Madyson, through a mutual friend on Facebook.
Who was our mutual friend?
I
Michelle?
believe it was Dave Gribble.
Oh, really?
That's who I think it was. I could be wrong, but
Wait, now I'm gonna look.
obviously I might be wrong. But either way, we had a mutual friend on Facebook.
Yeah.
Through the freedom movement. So, and that's how you and I met.
Watch, he deleted me. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah. And I've known Aaron since sophomore year of high school. And Aaron can introduce himself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Aaron Zumpf. I live in Colorado here. I've been yelling and screaming about all this crap for probably about 12 years. COVID came around. And I don't know what it was. I thought of my friend Danny here. Probably saw something on Facebook. I was like, I got to reach out to him. I did. And we hooked up, and I've been going at it ever since. I give Danny support and help with the Free Human Being Project. It's a great place, not censored. Even if we ourselves feel that it's not right or whatnot, we let people post it.
Yeah, we try to be as open to discussion as we possibly can.
Yeah.
My big thing over the last few years, I'm not interested in debating people.
No.
Usually I think once you get into a debate, you're just constantly trying to think of the next thing that you can say, to counter that person. You're not listening. You're not actually having a conversation.
Yeah.
And if we could just have a conversation with people, you probably find out that, more in common than not with the people around you, maybe your neighbors, even friends and family, if people were just willing to have a conversation. So when Aaron reached out to me, though, I was pushing a thing called social closeness in the face of the social distancing. Yeah. So his shirt says social closeness, but that's what I made when I first started. Oh, I got rid of it because it's all design.
Yeah,
I want that one.
Okay. Oh, we got Denny in here. What's up, Denny? Denny's a good
friend. Denny, he's always on here, and he's so awesome and so sweet. Like I never met him, but he's always like so encouraging.
Yeah.
Hey, Denny.
Where's the meat?
Denny, I want to know if you own Denny's, and can I have a free meal?
Actually, Denny's used to be called Danny's. When it first started. Yep. And then they changed it to Dan's, then Den's, and then it became Denny's. Now, if I'm wrong, maybe it's the Mandela effect. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I heard.
That's funny.
Yeah. So we were pushing social closeness and going out in public, when people didn't want to be out in public, or you weren't allowed to be in public anymore. And we were just basically causing a ruckus of freedom and, spewing our rights and filming it and telling people, that we have a right to continue to travel and to be out in public and shopping and doing what we need to do to take care of ourselves.
Yeah. And I don't think people I think some people do, depending on what state they are in, but Colorado was horrible. Like,
oh yeah.
It was, I still have anxiety going in stores because I don't know what psycho is going to like run up to me because I have a muzzle on. Like
that's how I felt. That's how I felt when I went out to visit my brother in California.
Yeah.
So Colorado is basically, it's Cali-rado now, or it's Commie-rado.
Yeah.
We are being run by a communist governor.
Yeah.
He definitely wants to turn us into California.
Yeah. It's crazy. Well, it's funny. We were talking. So Aaron, Danny, and I were talking about before we got on here. We were talking about just people that are awake and free speech. And it seems like either, and I want both of you guys to comment on this, is that either people say they're awake and they're not awake at all, like whatsoever, or they're completely just falling back asleep because things aren't as crazy as they were. But they don't realize there's like about a crash about to happen. It's already happening with the banks and everything else. And people are just like, oh, don't worry about it. And it's like, no, with what's happening in Texas and the Title 42 ending, there's about to be 700,000 immigrants. And when you look at all the pictures, and I've posted videos from when I was there, they're mostly men. Why do you think they are having men come in? They're about to go to war with us. And the one thing with Texas, I don't think people realize, if you've never watched the Alamo, Texas took part of Mexico's land away. You don't think that Mexico wants that back? Like they're going to come in and fight for it. And so it's like people are not really truly awake because of what's happening. And I don't understand why America will not rise up. It's like
I don't either.
I think it's the mockingbird media of the patriots that are like, just sit on your ass and don't do anything. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I'd love both your opinions.
Well, I think that I don't know. You guys heard of the Bundy thing that went down in Nevada, Mesquite, Nevada?
Yep.
You hear about that? Cliven Bundy and all that.
For the people that don't know, tell them.
It was a ranching family. Been over there down in close to Mesquite, Nevada for over 100 years. And finally, the BLM started imposing these grazing fees upon them. And they felt like, hey, we should be grandfathered in and not have to pay these fees. We'll gladly pay the state of Nevada, but we're not going to pay the federal government. So they swooped in, kind of like Waco style, and surrounded their ranch, started destroying the infrastructure that they'd set up for the water. And the Bundys, they pretty much, the militia came in from all over and stood. There was a big standoff there finally, and the BLM went away, and they came in back quietly and swooped everybody up, the Bundys, and put them in jail, like they always do, because they're not going to sit there and face them off in a large group that was organized, ready to go. And then they swooped them up, made an example out of them, but then they won in court and got out. So Mr. Bundy is still up. He's up in Idaho now. He's starting another fight right now over some court stuff that
I think he's running for
governor.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to get at is, maybe it's because they're afraid. Are people ready to give away their livelihoods and stand up and actually lay their life down? What is it going to take? Maybe it will take this invasion down there for people to finally say, "Oh shit, we're going to do something."
Right.
For my job, I do a lot of work in a lot of different people's houses. And I talk with generals and this, that, and the other, and they've told me, that America needs a swift kick in the ass, like an invasion or something to wake people up because we're lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think going off of lazy, it's about comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there was just enough comfort allowed to us, right? Like even through COVID, the liquor stores were allowed to stay open. The weed shops were allowed to stay open. All the big name brand stores were allowed to stay open. And so you were able to, drown yourself in alcohol and weed if you needed to numb yourself out until you made it through.
Yeah.
And I think people were just typically, they were afraid. They didn't know what to expect. And when you talk about mainstream media, that's just the mockingbird media. Yeah. They're all saying the same things. They're all owned by the same corporations. And if you were to think that Fox News was the only right side, whether it's the left side media, the right side media, that they were the only ones out there, let's say, then that means that, 99% of mainstream media is giving, leftist talking points. Right. And now it's giving extreme leftist talking points, socialist, communist talking points.
Right. And
I really don't think people even noticed that they were watching leftist, socialist propaganda.
No.
To think that the only thing that you're going to get out of all of those news sources is Fox News. That's it. No wonder the people think the way they do.
Right.
And even Fox News has leftists, pundits that are on there to give fair, leftist views.
Right.
But then we go to education.
Right.
The education system is broken. It is literally being run by socialists and commies.
Yes.
And to think that it isn't, you got to be foolish, or you're just blind, or you'd rather just have your comfort and you want to go back to sleep.
Go back to the Rockefellers, taking over school.
Yeah, and you just, he was just saying the Rockefellers, taking over the public education system.
Actually starting it.
Yeah, starting it.
I thought they've already had it taken over. I mean, I'm not going to say where, but it's in a conservative state. And I was talking to this mom, and her kid is in kindergarten, and in what you would think would be a red state, right? They basically took the kindergartner kids and took the boys' clothes off the boys and the girls' clothes off the girls and made them switch clothes and said, how does it feel to be a boy or a girl? And so half the parents, obviously freaked out because they were like, wait a minute, this is BS. That's crazy. We're not doing it. What amazed me is that the other half of the parents were okay with it. I'm like, you're taking the clothes off my kids. One, that's abuse, right?
Right.
And getting them naked in class in front of each other. What makes you think that I'm catching a charge real quick and happily sitting in prison for the rest of my life because you're just not doing that with my kids? But then half the parents pulled their kids out to homeschool because they were like, this is just crazy, and the abuse that you just did to these babies, right? And so I'm like, well, why are these other parents taking and pulling their kid? I don't understand.
And I don't see how any parent could be okay with any of that.
Right, that's exactly it.
On any level.
Well, right, I don't understand how any of these parents. And listen, I can't stand people say, I can't do it. I'm a single mom, right? I have my kids 100% of the time. I do it on my own and homeschool them. Don't tell me you can't do it, because you can make a way. You just have to figure out how to make that way and how to make the schedule work for you guys. I'm so over people saying, well, I can't do it because I work, whatever. Figure it out and find a community around you that can help you, because otherwise they're going to be indoctrinated, and they're coming. We've talked about this before. They're coming for our kids, and they are normalizing pedophilia for these babies. And that's where this all stems from. And what's really sad is kids in their 20s don't even know what 1776 is. How do you not know what that is? It's because they've been indoctrinated for 20 years and they don't know what it is. So it's okay, this is why America's not standing up and not rising up.
Because of the verbiage of American history, they changed it the word to something else. It's not even American history anymore.
Aaron,
I saw an article. Today that was talking about. I cannot remember where it was. Most likely, it's probably California. But they were talking about within the school system, they want to stop supporting capitalism because that is promoting segregation and it's promoting all of these leftist ideologies, and it's harming people basically, and if you're going to get rid of capitalism, then what else are you going to usher in? You're going to usher in socialism. It's why they're talking about equity now. They're not talking about equality anymore. They changed the word to equity. And if anybody would just look up what equity means, it's pretty obvious that if I own 100% of something, in order for me and Aaron to be equitable in this same room, if Aaron has nothing, I have to give half to him so that we have equality out of equity. Just to go back to the homeschooling, I think that if the moment people decide that they're going to make that change, the doors open up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you have the way to figure things out. And there are so many homeschool organizations that have opened up in the last few years all across the country. And they're creating programs to help you become proficient in teaching your child things. And they even have local homeschool organizations where families will get their kids to all meet up together on certain days of the week. So it's almost like you're still in school with other kids. Right. So it's not like you're just at home alone and you're raising weird kids that don't know how to be socially active. Like,
no. Well, today,
it's not it at all.
Right. Well, today I took my kids, we went with a bunch of homeschool moms, and we took our kids on a field trip. It's like, this is what you would do in normal school. So we're going to all go together, and went to a farm and they picked strawberries, and it was like, here's the education of fruit and whatever, but they had fun and they played together. You'll eventually, I thought, oh, this is crazy. I can never homeschool my kids, right? I thought that too. And I'm like, I'm just going to do it. There's no way. Because my oldest went to the STEM school, and that was a hot mess and a joke during COVID. It was just like the things that they were teaching, they would tell him to wear a muzzle while he was on a Zoom. I'm like, and then I get on the Zoom, I'm like, he's in his home. He's not putting this muzzle on because you're trying to indoctrinate him with a muzzle. Like, you're crazy, not happening. But then when I started putting them in activities, I'm like, oh, there are more homeschool parents out there that you can talk with. I have to read them too. I can't talk and read.
I know. I see things popping up, but people are talking about self-defense of your family, estate, not taking a charge, occupied by entertainment, bunch of jolly idiots.
Serious, it's the truth.
Well, and maybe there's more of us than we think there are, but people are still just afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's like, I was already making t-shirts for 7.5 years, a different company that I owned. And then at the beginning of 2020, I was like, oh, I'm going to make some freedom style t-shirts. And
you were a liberal?
Yeah, I was a liberal before this. And I was like, man, I'm going to hop on the bandwagon. I'm a grifter. Well, and that's an easy way to call people too, right? You're just a grifter. We live in a society and in a world where we've created money, which is not natural.
No.
The natural order of things is to work together, to trade, to barter. But as we grow, it almost makes sense that we need something physical to trade and barter with. Yeah. So we create coins or some sort of paper, currency that we can transfer back and forth. And the word currency makes me think of current, and that makes me think of water or energy or flow. So that money's got to flow in and out. It's got to go back and forth. And I don't think money is evil or a good thing. I just think it is something, and we need to use it. And so calling people grifters, and I'm sure there are grifters out there, but making money to take care of our family, there's nothing wrong with that.
See, that's the thing. I'm not mad at people for making money. What annoys me is that people use it as a leverage to control people. It's like one slave master after the other slave master after the other slave master. And it's like, no, we understand you've got to make a living, right? All of us have to put food on the table, make a living. Right. That's great. But it's like, where do you draw the line? It's kind of like, we've talked about this, and Aaron, I'd love to know your opinion, because Danny and I have talked about this a lot, is like, even on the state national stuff, right? We know like what's free and whatever. And I feel like every person I've come across it's like you have all this knowledge, but you want me to pay you $10,000-$20,000 to learn this stuff. It's like, wait a minute, we're okay, great. Charge something fine, but charging thousands of dollars or even hundreds of dollars in this economic time right now,
Right.
people can't afford that. So it's like you're wanting us to unslave from a system. You've said you've unslaved from this system. If you've really unslaved from this system, then you beat it and you are making the money that you say with this SDQV and all this other crap. Yet you're charging all this money. To me, I have a really hard time lately wrapping my head around that. I want people to make money, but how do you, again, it goes back to the bargaining, and it's just, are you a good person, or are you going to rob me so I can supposedly free myself from a system that you say you've already freed yourself from? What are your guys'
Right.
thoughts on?
Yeah, I think that people that I know of that are in this fight, that they made it a lifestyle. That's what they make a living from, pushing the truth. These people, they're not living in mansions or whatnot. They're spreading, like James Corbett. I don't know how many people out there know this guy, but man, he spends hours and hours and hours researching, putting together these documentaries, free for everybody to watch.
Oh, wow.
And the only way that he does that is, people donate to him, and then he's able to spend that time, pay his bills. He lives humbly in Japan, and that's all he does, and it's great. And he's not out there. Oh, what you said, $10,000-$20,000 to learn this, that, or the other. The people that are truly out there, that are on our side, are the ones that are humble, and they're just making enough money to be able to spread the truth, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to what you said. It's about the intention of the person.
Yeah.
And yes, while there's nothing wrong with making an income so you can support your family, take care of your family, I'm a big proponent of, trying to create some sort of wealth that can become generational, so that your family can continue to take that and to grow. But it still goes back to the intention of the person.
Yeah.
You can have $1 million, you can have $1 billion, you could be broke ass poor, you could be 100-aire.
What's 100-aire?
What kind of person are you, though?
Is it $100?
Yeah, 100-aire. Just $100.
So Madyson, what are your thoughts about Del Bigtree? Do you think he's doing good, or do you think he's out there making a whole bunch of money? And
Who?
Del Bigtree with the High Wire. You never heard of him?
The only person I've heard of the High Wire, I'm thinking of. I don't know why I'm thinking of Ben Shapiro. I know that's not.
He used to work for CBS as a producer, and he's the guy that produced the movie. Have you heard of it? Vaxxed.
Oh, I have not heard of him, which usually when I haven't heard of someone, it's probably a good thing, and they're probably doing the right thing, because things that come
this
across.
guy, he inspired me. I don't know. I woke up about the vaccine things, a long time ago, but I stumbled upon this guy, and I've even met him in person, shook his hand, and all that. I think he's doing a great job, and all he works off is donations. And he's taking this money. He's hired lawyers. He's going after the CDC and winning, against the FDA on Freedom of Information Acts, and exposing, what these guys are doing, and really going after it. So,
yeah, he used to live in Colorado.
Yeah, Boulder.
Okay.
Yep, and he comes out and does events out here every once in a while. Some of his family still lives out here.
I would love to do something.
Yeah, we've seen him, do some live events. But yeah, there are people out there that are doing a phenomenal job. I just want to go back. It's like I could care less if somebody, me personally, I could care less if somebody's charging for something or not. It still goes back. What are your intentions? What are you doing with the cash that you got? Are you trying to educate people? Are you taking that money and hiring people? Are you taking that money and donating some of it? Are you taking that money and, giving out free things? It's like all the orders, I charge for all of my t-shirts.
But you should.
Profits versus profits. But I take 25% of my sales and I give that to other businesses. I give out free constitutions. I give out free stickers. I You know, I try to educate people as much as I possibly can. I think you can tell who the real grifters are out there, though. You know, it's hard to tell if some of these people aren't even there on purpose, you know,
Right.
to dissuade us in some kind of way.
Right.
I just think, man, if you go to an event and at the end of the event, nobody even talked about actionable items that you can do as an individual person in the place that you live, then they haven't given you anything. All they did was tell you the stories of their lives that are going on, which, yes, can be motivational. And it's super awesome to hear motivational stories from other people that have been through crazy things.
Yeah.
And how they're standing up on their own 2 feet and they're taking care of their life now. And, you know, they've made it through all the struggles. You know, if they're not inspiring you to, you know, do things locally,
Yeah.
then, you know, I think it's missed at the end.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know that there's so many amazing. I mean, look at you and Aaron. I mean, I don't think it's by accident that we've all met, right? Like I've said this a million times. Eventually, I think all of us are going to come together and we're going to be on the front lines together, right? We're separate right now, but eventually we know who the good ones are and who the ones aren't. I think I have seen the ones, to me, in my opinion, the ones that are not good are the ones that are traveling around using God's name to raise money, and they're making millions of dollars. It's even like these tours, right? All these people are going on tours. I've been invited on them. I'm like, I feel how you guys feel. Where did you give these people any type of thing to do to like stand up and say, okay, I want to help here, or you should go do this, or this is how you should stand up in your community and how you get involved? No one's doing that. We've tried, right? But it's like trying to get people to actually do something. I feel like it's impossible. I don't know how you guys feel, but it has been so frustrating for me. And then they'll say, well, I'll say, okay, go do this. And then I'll get 20 million excuses of why they cannot do that instead of just doing it. And it's like, dude, just stand up and do something for your community,
Right,
for
like,
kids.
Stop buying the Monsanto's GMO. Go buy a flipping organic gallon of milk. You know?
Stop using your credit card all the time. Go to the ATM from your bank, take out some cash and spend cash.
Yeah.
Yes.
People don't want to make the changes in their life because it's going to add all this extra work. You're going to have to dig deeper and, you know, burn that extra energy to figure out how you're going to make these changes.
I would recommend to anybody that is thinking about that, just, you know, baby steps.
Yeah.
Start small.
Do one thing.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Take that first step.
Right. And no one's against anyone making a living. I mean, I've done it multiple times on my Telegram where I'm like, if you have a small business, post it here so people can see and they can go and try to forward it to like the main page. It's like, make a living, do what you need to do to make a living. Let's support those small businesses. People always get mad at me when I like share your stuff or I sell my book. It's like, okay, first of all, I give 50% of my proceeds to these children where I can just take that money and spend it on my own children. And I don't, because these kids need to eat, right? And so it's like, help them. But it's like, I don't want anything from anyone. I just want to support the small businesses because that's who we should be supporting. That's who they tried to shut down. There is a reason that they tried to shut down all of the small businesses because there's more small businesses than there are large businesses. And so when all of those small businesses come together and realize that they're more powerful than the big ones, then change can happen. But I don't understand why people don't understand.
Yeah. Well, that's small businesses is the number one reason why I started the Free Human Being Project. Yeah. When I see all these large corporations being called, essential or, oh man, what is the word that they used for them? I can't remember. I have the book. Actually,
business was it? It was.
I'm gonna grab something real quick, and I'll be back.
Aaron, did you have when you guys were fighting? Do you have kids in school and stuff, or were you just like, I'm over this because it's been years since you?
Oh yeah, we went from just the regular school to I kind of freaked my wife out when I woke up. I have a crazy little story about how I woke, but yeah, we started pushing them, looking around, and we found like a Waldorf school, and then switched them over to that, and then but COVID just exploded and changed a whole bunch of crap. We're still dealing with it and fighting with it. they're still going to regular public school, but I am taking the time that I can free and sit down and teaching my children. Like we got them the Tuttle books, small baby steps,
Yeah.
have them read about the Constitution, learn about that stuff and their rights. And the kids, they watch, and I can tell that they know that I'm mostly, a different parent than what all these other kids around them are being told.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, my kids see it too.
Yeah.
I mean, and all of our kids together, they see what him and I do, and like going to school board meetings and they won't let us in because we're not wearing a mask. And then we school the officers on what the law really is and what our, natural rights are.
Yeah. Our kids going to protests with us.
Yep.
That's how it should be. I mean, that's how I am with my kids. I feel like even my oldest, he's been homeschooled. This is the second year, and he was in school for a while, right? And it is like night and day. But unschooling is a true thing. You have to like unprogram all of the crap in your head. And like they learn so much more when I'm like, okay, how do each of my children learn? And then just letting them. One of them will sit there and play with Legos. And if I just sit there and read like something or the Constitution, boom, he picks it up. I don't think he's listening, but he is. Because that's how he learns, is building this big city of Legos. And then it's like, oh, I got it, right? So it's good
and
for
he's
you
just
guys.
soaking that information in.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And more and more people can do that.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a binder. I have a binder that I put together when COVID first started. It's got the First Amendment on the front. It's got the Ninth Amendment on the back. This is my favorite amendment. In simple terms, the Ninth Amendment says that all rights not listed in the Constitution belong to the people, not the government. And so that's talking about your God-given rights. That's talking about your natural born rights, even before birth, your rights that are granted to you by a creator. It's the idea of the divine spark, the moment where that spark happens and that magical moment of your birth coming into this physical form, it happens. And so they tell us those kinds of truths. And so when this happened, I looked up the executive order from Governor Polis. It came out March 25th of 2020. And that it's D-2020-017. And I have that in this book here that I would take this binder around with me when I went shopping so I could share the truth with people that were trying to stop me from going into a store and shopping with my breath not being hindered because I wasn't wearing a mask. But and then, I want to help businesses too. But so many small businesses had already closed their doors. There was nothing I could do to help anybody. But Governor Polis here states on page 2, Part C, I direct all businesses other than those qualified as critical businesses. And it puts it in quotes, critical businesses under this health order to close temporarily, except as necessary to engage in minimum basic operations needed to protect assets and maintain personnel functions. So they tell you the truth. They want you to close your doors unless you need to protect your assets and maintain personnel function. Who doesn't do that? And the personnel functions, that's all your employees. Right. So why are you closing your doors and sending people home? There was a statistic that was put out by a local Republican representative here in Colorado. I believe it was near the end of last year. It was a resolution that he wanted to pass between, the left side and the right side, the House and the Senate. It got shut down. But basically, this resolution was an apology to all Colorado citizens for any strife that they might have gone through in the last couple years. And there was a specific part in there for any businesses that lost their livelihoods and lost their businesses due to COVID. And over 40,000 small businesses shut their doors permanently between 2020 and 2022. And all they wanted to give was an apology. And you know what's amazing about that? it got shut down. It never made it anywhere.
That's crazy.
That's not good.
Yeah, they didn't want to apologize.
No.
They didn't even want to come out and say sorry, because then that would admit that they did something wrong. So if you multiply
Yeah.
all 50 states, that's 2 million businesses that potentially shut their doors permanently, when small businesses used to make up 44% of the GDP.
Right.
That's the gross domestic product
Jeez.
in America, is 44% of small businesses.
And you know what's crazy, Danny, is that those businesses aren't standing up.
They're not.
Like they're not going after the government that literally wrecked their lives. People have lost their homes, they've lost their businesses, they can't feed their families. Some of them have ended up homeless. It's like, how are these are the ones that I don't understand. You should be standing up and saying, this is not okay. And think about the ones that have immigrated here the right way and have lost everything because they thought that they left the communism and now they're here in communism, and they basically lost their businesses.
We're supposed to be land of the free, home of the brave. We're supposed to be a beacon of light. I don't care if you think America has screwed up or has not screwed up. I don't care if you think we're the best country in the world or not, or if we have things that we still need to work on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious, human beings are going to continue to have to work on things to get better. But the rest of the world sees us as a beacon of light. Any of those people that lived in communist countries, and I've met a lot over the last few years going to meetings and protests, they have more courage than most Americans I know.
That's true.
And that's pretty sad.
Yeah. On a different note, do you have that 9th Amendment on a shirt?
I used to.
Well, who do I file a complaint? Aaron, are you HR? Can I file a complaint?
I could smack him around a little bit.
Yeah. If you'd like it, on the front of the shirt, it said, "Standing up for all of our rights is right." And then on the back of it, it had the 9th Amendment.
You need to have that shirt again.
I'll bring it. I'll either bring it back or I'll make it for you.
Oh, perfect. I'll pay you for it.
Yeah. And if anybody out there wants to pay me for a shirt, you can go to the freehumanbeingproject.com.
The link is in the comments.
Well, and I want to teach businesses how to stand up for themselves. I want to teach them how to make a lot of money. I want to teach them how to turn their business into a generational business so their children can run those businesses, so they can create generational wealth. So we can start having these, these non-critical people out there making a lot of money so that we can take that money and fight fire with fire.
Yeah,
right.
I think we're going to have to be watching out for these, watching closely on what the banks are doing.
Yeah.
The controlled demolition of our financial system.
Yeah.
The CBDCs that they're getting ready to roll out.
Yep.
That's going to be some crazy shit.
Yeah. Look into the, Fed Now. Look into that. And that's all digital currency through the Federal Reserve. And their goal will be to wipe out any other digital currency. And you can only use the Fed Now currency to pay for your stuff. It'll turn into a social credit system is what it will.
Well,
a
I feel like
cashless society is going to be an enslaved society, period.
Well, we already are. I feel like we're already there. I mean, think about it. We should not have credit scores, and we do. We should not have credit cards, and we do. We should be a gold and silver backed country, and we're not. And so this is where, again, people are like just okay with all of this. And it's like, no, you can't buy a car. You can't buy a home. You can't do any of this stuff unless they allow you to. And think about it, because I've come across a lot of people like this. If they have medical bills, that has taken their credit from whatever all the way down because the hospitals have thrown it on the credit because they've decided to throw it on the credit. And people are like,
what's funny? Even if you could bypass that, the credit, like I bought a truck a while back in 2016. I bought it straight up cash, brand new. I went in there with the cash to the dealer, and I could not buy that truck until I filled out a form disclosure to the IRS that I was giving out, money over a certain amount. That's happened to me twice.
Wow.
Because they want to know what you're spending your money on.
And they said that was due to the Patriot Act that happened after 9/11. So they're saying, "Oh yeah, the terrorists are running around buying, these,
the terrorist named
your
George
name
Bush.
isn't on it." but they put my name on it anyways. I couldn't buy it without my name on it.
That's crazy. And again, the Patriot Act, which is it's
It's
crazy.
it's got a great name,
It doesn't
great title.
right? But think about that. The Patriot Act and what he just said, and then all of these patriots that are running around like the Mockingbird media, all saying the same thing, all on each other's shows, right? They all stay together and they all say the same thing over and over to control, again, the narrative and control what we all do and think and say. And so no one stands up and no one is like, hey, I'm going to stand up to the communism that is happening. We just have to figure out how to, like you said, create the generational wealth and create where we create cities that are not these 15-minute cities, but we create some type of towns where it's ours. And we're like, no, we're going to create our own America and fuck you, commie America, because we don't want it.
Right.
Well,
and I think eventually that's going to happen anyway. Let's look at it this way. Here's a positive spin on it. When the government says that they're going to shut down for 2 or 3 weeks because they cannot come to an agreement on whatever said topic that they're supposedly, trying to come to an agreement on, for those 2 or 3 weeks, does the entire country stop functioning? No.
Right.
It doesn't. And that's because the people run the country.
That's right. Yeah.
We are the infrastructure. We build all the roads, the towns, the buildings, the city, the water supply. Yeah. We do everything. All they do is come after our taxes more and more. They pit us against each other so they can divide us and conquer us. They do whatever they want. But when they shut down the government, the country itself doesn't stop working.
No.
So we don't even need them. So if shit went sideways, all we have to do is just keep functioning and doing whatever we do anyway. And if we think that we need some form of money, then just make a different kind of currency and start trading and bartering in that currency. There is no law that states we have to use the currency that is currently being used. There's no statute for that. But we follow all of these things because our parents did. Yes. Our parents follow all these things because their parents did. And when you ask them why do we do these things, their response is probably going to be because that's how we do it. They don't know. It's like anything, the birth certificate, social security card, the, passports, license plates, health insurance, car insurance. It doesn't matter. Why do we do these things? Why do I have to fill out this paperwork to prove to you any of this stuff that you're even asking?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you go down the line far enough, no one's going to have a true answer for you. And then you're going to start asking some higher ups that don't want to give you the answer, and you're going to start getting ghosted. But the truth of the matter is,
like a bad Tinder date.
there's two. There's 2 different countries that we live in. One's fictional and one's not. So
So I'm curious. We're almost getting to an hour, but I have a question for both of you that I'm curious, because you both said you guys woke up like 10 to 11 years ago. What was your wake up? Because people don't just wake up, right? This scamdemic had to happen for a lot of people to wake up. So what was the wake up for both of you?
I mean, for me, I woke up close to 30 years ago. I mean, I used to play in a band, and all the people in my band, we would always hang out and just talk about the government and the distrust that we had. Yeah. And then all of us would just start talking about conspiracy theories, things that might happen in the future. It's all happening right now over the last 3 years. Everything that we used to talk about. I think I always just had a disdain and a distrust for, authority and government. And I saw through all the lie. I mean, people loved Ronald Reagan, but when I was younger, I was like, he's an actor. Yeah. And they put an actor in the place of president, which tells me that the president is just a talking piece for the American people. He's not doing anything.
No.
He's just a mouthpiece for all the people to look at.
Selected, not elected.
Selected, not elected, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's just always been in my blood. Just that distrust. And And then I've had a strong affinity to question and to not only question authority, but just question my reality. Where do we live? Why are we here? Why do we do the things that we're supposed to be doing? And if it doesn't feel right or sit right, then I ask even deeper questions.
Yeah.
And no answer that I get ever seems to be good enough for me.
No.
And I just keep questioning. So,
Yeah.
what about you?
Me? Oh, shoot. Yeah. So about 12 years ago, I just a really, my life was, really into outdoors, rock climbing and caving and, traveling. And my father was killed in a car accident when I was 12 years old. And my mom shipped me up to North Dakota to her cousin's farm. They had dairy and crops and whatnot. And I was there the first year Monsanto came out with their Roundup Ready corn. And I remember the Farmer Jerry. If you're watching, Jerry, hey, what's up? He showed me these seeds, and they were different. They were red. But I didn't think of anything, of it. Went out and farmed it, did all that. And then years later, 12 years later, I was on Facebook, and a friend of mine, a caver, posted a picture of these seeds. And so it said, no GMO. And I'm like, I looked at it, I was like, man, I remember those damn seeds. What the hell? And I started, looking into it. And I'm like, what? And, I never got into politics. I didn't care about any of all that, but then I called Jerry up. I'm like, Jerry, who's Monsanto? What are GMOs? He's all, it's too big. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, me, you're not going to tell that to me. Anybody that knows that, I'm really passionate in whatever I do. And I went down that rabbit hole. And I went really far. It put a big strain on my marriage. I almost got divorced over it. Lost a lot of family and friends. It's been really rough, but it was very enlightening for me. And I just can't stop. I see everybody out there, and I'm like, man, wake up. You not see right there. It's, so that's where I'm at.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, it is. A friend of mine, I'm not going to say her. You know who she is, but I'm not going to say her because I don't know if her dad's watching. But I hope she doesn't get mad at me for telling the story. But they have like a family, like there's a right side and a left side, right? And her dad is like far right. And so they have like this family event. And one of the family members was wearing a muzzle, and he went and like pulled the muzzle off. I'm like, I kind of not mad at him for doing it. I'm like, don't we all feel like that at some point of like, you just want to slap people awake?
Yeah.
I'm like, I understand, to not saying it's right to like go put your hands on anyone, but just saying, I understand that. It's like, we all have our awakening journey, right? And it's like, I get that side of it, of just wanting to just slap someone. And what's really sad of what Aaron said is a lot of us have lost loved ones and friends and family because they're mad at us for the way we believe, which is exactly what the government wants, right? Is to divide us and hate each other because we have different beliefs. But if we all just sat down and had a conversation of like, hey, this is what I believe and why I believe it, and then listen to someone else and see why they believe it, and then come together of like, our common enemy is the government, Right.
Well, Candace is talking about, the different toxic chemicals in food, soybean oils and all that. And while I do agree with all the chemicals and the toxicity, whether it's in the air, the water, the food, the medicine, the jabs, anything that you do, there's also the toxicity of the things that we hear, the toxicity of the thoughts that we have in our minds, the relationships we have with people. You have to remove toxins from multi levels. We're being attacked on all sides.
Yeah.
It's mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. You clean up all of those things, then you can incorporate the financial side of it.
Yeah.
The world that we live in is not what we think it is.
No.
And I don't think anybody could even tell me where we exist. You know, anybody could say, hey, I have definitive proof of where we exist, how we got here. Here's the information that I'm giving you. And that still couldn't really prove how we even got here.
Right.
But since we're here, there has to be something inside people that wants to do better, wants to be better, and wants to take this crazy inversion of a world that we are in and start returning it back to normal, back to nature. I don't even like the word normal, because normal is what got us here.
Yeah. It's their normal.
Yeah.
Well, I got the chills when you said that, and you said something earlier that I want to comment on, is that we always want to argue with people, right? And I'm guilty of it too, because people just annoy me.
Too.
I cannot stand, I really cannot stand these religious spirits. Like, I literally just want to hit them in the face. Like, I just cannot stand them at all. But I'm like, okay, I have to stop arguing with them, because it doesn't matter what I think or say. They're going to argue with it. They're not going to go research. They're going to argue with it. And I look at people like you, Danny, and Aaron, and then Denny, who is on here, who I've never met Aaron, but I've seen him comment on different things and always encouraging and loving. The same with your friend Denny here. Like, to me, that is what, like, gives back to people. When I read things like that, I'm like, man, there are really good souls out there that I've never met, that I'm like, this is the world right here, right? I'm going to love you. I'm going to love him. And we're, whether we know each other or not, we're going to love each other, because we know that we have a common goal and a common enemy, really. And so It's like, how we're standing together with not even knowing each other. And there's a lot of people, I'm only saying it to them because they're here right now, but there's so many people like that. I see them on your guys' Telegram and Facebook. I see them on my Telegram and Facebook. And there's some amazing people. It's like, we can get there. We just need to come together. Okay, where are the people in Colorado? We all get together and we build something stronger. We maybe not know what that looks like, but we can come together, right? Like, start breaking bread with each other, you know, and see how you can help build a better world, because it's up to us now. What's happening is things are going to fall and crash. Either we demand and build another world, or we live in this shit one that they've created for us. To me, I would rather work my booty off to build a better one.
Well, that takes me back to what I said before, though. Even if the world crashes, why is it crashing? Because we're being told it's crashing?
That is true. Yeah.
We're being told that the dollar doesn't have any value anymore. We're being told that we're in all this debt. You know, who's telling us that it's crashing? What's crashing?
Right.
It's like when COVID first started, all these people are dying. Why don't I see all these dead people outside in the streets? Yeah. It's not as scary. People are telling us certain things.
That's true.
It isn't true.
Right.
And if the whole economy crashed, why is it crashing? Because it doesn't need to crash. We just continue to do whatever we do, and then we'll just make a new currency if that's how we're going to trade and barter. Right. We're the ones that created the infrastructure, not our government.
That's true.
So that's the way I see it.
Danny for president.
We're going to have to come together. What's that?
Danny for president.
Sign me up. I'm ready. Let's go.
For VP.
Yes. How about you for president and I'll be your VP? Because then we're eschewing, because they just want a woman in there.
Nah, listen, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it. Listen, we bleed for 7 days. We do not need to be a president, okay? If we could like take that week off, then great. But other than that, nah.
Yep.
I just want to save the babies. That's, and someone else can run the world. I want to save the babies and provide for them, and everything else I can leave it to everyone else. You know.
This is go ahead, Aaron.
I'd love to meet up with you someday, Madyson, and talk about that further. You know, about what you do, and if there's anything that I can contribute to that. You know, I would love to do that.
You're hired.
Very good.
This guy is ride or die.
We'll have to talk, because well let's talk offline. I don't want to say certain things on here, but Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing is like, one of the things that I've struggled with is finding people that want to join the task force. Now, there are strangers online that will say, oh, we'll join it, but I can't just trust any random person, right?
You can't.
Right.
You have to trust people that you've met and know, and there's a difference. And then the people that we have hired are like, they'll go in and you'll train them, and nothing can prepare you for what you see. It's not the kids that we see every day, our babies, right? Their innocence has been stolen and they're like broken, and they
Right.
just need to know that they are safe, and no adult in their mind is safe because these adults are demonic. I mean,
Right.
I don't think they're real humans, because I can't believe that a human, like a real human person, would do that. Like, my brain cannot comprehend that someone can be that evil.
Right.
I know they can because of everything I've gone through, but still, just when it's a baby, it's different. So
Totally. Yeah, I agree. I don't see how somebody could do that.
yeah.
The way I know we're wrapping up on the hour right now, I would want to tell anybody, and this is how I've been thinking about it. There's a natural world that we live in.
Yeah.
That was created by something greater than us. And being in America with the First Amendment, you have the freedom to express, your religion or spirituality in the way that you see fit. And so some people aren't going to agree on everything when it comes down to that specifically, if we're talking about religion. But there's a natural world that was created by something greater than us, because human beings cannot make this world that we live in. And so that's the natural world that I see. And that natural world has a natural order to it, or natural law about it. And then within that world is man's world. And if man's world goes against God's world, or man's law goes against God's law, then we should be obligated to not follow those laws. Yes. And we need to start looking to nature and looking to the world that we live in, that natural world that was created, to see how does it flow? How does it interact with each other? And then us as human beings, how can we do that same thing and start bringing in that higher mindedness, that higher awareness of a creator greater than us? And then how do we, please that natural world that we live in? And it's got to be God over government. It's got to be God over, malicious laws. If it doesn't work, then you should stand up and say, no, I'm not following it, period.
Exactly.
Yeah. And God is different than religion. Religion
totally
is not anything. Religion is man-made and demonic.
Yep.
God is something completely different.
Completely different.
I agree.
Oh, that just gave me chills.
And Aaron, any last words from you?
No, it's, people are out there wondering, if they could make a difference and whatnot. Yes, one person can make a difference. Look at Madyson here. Danny, great people out there fighting. Just, push, just, start small, baby steps, pick up a book, talk to your friends and family. Try not to yell and scream, like I did. I made the mistakes and lost a lot of friends and family, but I wouldn't change it for the world. But just keep at it. Yeah. Everybody, all you people out there watching, you can make a difference. And thanks for watching.
And if you guys want Danny's shirts, please go support him, thefreehumanbeingproject.com, right? .com, yeah.
Yep.
I haven't saved in my favorites, so.
Yeah, you can get there at tfhbp.com as well.
At the bottom of the screen there, guys, just put .com. Yep. And please support him, because his shirts are amazing. I get a lot of compliments all the time on his shirts. So
you're wearing one right now. Look at that. That's the best.
I'm always wearing your shirt. I was wearing one yesterday, or when was it? A couple days ago. I was wearing the Free AF one. Which, I'll say this and then, we'll go, but a lot of survivors like that shirt. So they always want it. And so if I purchase like a bunch of them, that's because I give them to them, because it's mental for them too. So it's awesome.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Madyson. I love you. And thank you for all the support that you always give. And
thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah. Thank you for everything.
Don't make me cry. Well, I love you both. And Aaron, it's so nice to actually meet you in person. We'll talk offline in a second, but I want the world to know I love both of you, and I can't wait when I come to Colorado again. I've gotten to give Danny a big old hug, so Aaron, can't wait to give you one as well.
Yep, looking forward to it.
Don't mess with me though, because I will shoot you. I don't care
Oh,
who you are.
yeah.
All right? Just kidding. Don't say that online. I'm gonna get. Well, we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And if you want to follow Aaron and Danny, all of the links are above. And so please follow them. And if you have any questions, you guys can reach out to them directly. And please go buy his shirt. Love you guys.
Thanks. Love you guys. Have a great day.